The PEP Radio Newsroom. This is the News Blast for April 6th, 2025. This week, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services announced that it will only recognize two biological sexes. In a Wednesday, April 2nd press release, the agency said that it was updating the United States Citizenship and Immigration Service Policy Manual to clarify that it only recognizes two biological sexes, male and female. The release cited President Donald Trump's January 20th defending women from gender ideology extremism and restoring biological truth to the federal government. The president's anti-trans order similarly declared that the U.S. government will only recognize two sexes, male and female, and falsely characterize so-called efforts to eradicate the biological reality of sex as fundamental attacks on women, depriving them of their dignity, safety, and well-being. What about the dignity, safety, and well-being of transgender and non-binary people? Aren't those who are citizens still paying taxes? Yeah, well, anyway, among the order's many anti-trans provisions, it instructed government agencies to end the federal funding of gender ideology. It declared that sex shall refer to an individual's immutable biological classification as either male or female and is not a synonym for and does not include the concept of gender identity. It also required that all federal agency forms that list an individual's sex list only male or female as options. Prior to Wednesday's announcement, United States Customs and Immigration Services included an X-gender option on its intake form for gender nonconforming immigrants applying for naturalization status. That change was announced almost exactly 1 year ago in April 2024. But in its Wednesday release, U.S. Customs and Immigration Services said that per its new guidelines, the agency considers a person's sex as that which is generally evidenced on the birth certificate issued at or nearest to the time of birth. If the birth certificate issued at or nearest to the time of birth indicates a sex other than male or female, USCIS will base the determination of sex on secondary evidence. As the Los Angeles Blade notes, the United States Customs and Immigration Services Policy Manual defines secondary evidence as evidence that may demonstrate a fact is more likely than not to be true, but the evidence does not derive from a primary authoritative source. According to Boundless, that may include medical records or other government-issued documents. While the agency said that it would not deny benefits solely because the benefit requester did not properly indicate his or her sex, it would issue documents on which the sex field is left blank or that indicate a sex different from the one an applicant was assigned at birth. There are only two sexes, male and female. Department of Health, Homeland Security, Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs, Tricia McLaughlin said in a statement. President Trump promised the American people a revolution of common sense, and that includes making sure that the policy of the U.S. government agrees with simple biological reality for those who never attended school beyond high school. Morons. Proper management of our immigration system is a matter of national security, not a place to promote or coddle an ideology that permanently harms children and robs real women of their dignity, safety, and well-being. Well, who robbed you of yours, Tricia? Huh? You sound more like a Karen than a Tricia. Immigration Equality Law and Policy Director Bridget Crawford called the policy cruel and unnecessary, adding that it puts transgender, non-binary, and intersex immigrants in danger. According to the Blade, that's why we recommend people don't come to the United States. Go to Canada, go to Mexico, go to any other country than this place because it's turned into a cesspool thanks to Donald Trump. Crawford said that by forcing people to carry identity documents that do not reflect their gender identity, the U.S. government is opening them up to increase discrimination, harassment, and violence. The policy, she said, will affect people's ability to travel, work, access health care, and live their lives authentically. This is not about common sense, Crawford said. It's about erasing an entire community from the legal landscape, just as Adolf Hitler did in Nazi Germany in 1932. The LGBTQ plus community is one community. We do not sacrifice anyone based on gender identity or sexual orientation, unlike the federal government, which will not provide transgender people services based on their identity, but will tax them all the same. That's the news at this hour. Now, up next is the weather forecast from the National Weather Service for the Meadville area, right here on PEP Radio.